Hey YouTube, and thank you for watching Junkworks DIY Garage. Well, if you've watched my video on what not to do from my kid's place and all the different things that crazy somebody did, I'm gonna start fixing a bunch of those things now in this video. So I'm probably not gonna really do a complete how-to on everything, but it'll give you a pretty good idea of how to fix something if you have the same problem I did. But it would make for just too long of a video. There may be a few that I'll do separately in other videos, longer versions, but I'm not sure yet because I'm just now starting on the fixes because there was so many things that you shouldn't do that they did in this house. So without further ado, let's get started. Starting with this, and this is inside of the laundry area. Down below is where all the caulking was and weird stuff going on, and this is the wires they had hooked to the plug in here. They didn't have these tightened on either side. As you can see, that one's still loose right there, and I tightened that one up in the video. I have no idea how they got to that. I finally had to cut that off, but as you can see, I haven't touched this and it's barely on there. They didn't get it tightened down. They just kind of stuck it around there and called it good because they did not have enough room to work inside this box. Well, we hit a 2x4 that's going under this box right here. I was able to pull just by kind of pushing on what slack I could feel in the wall back here, get it out. But there you go, there's the first fix. I should be able to just cut this and hook it up the way it is. Had I not been able to do that, then I would have tried to either move this over, or if normally the wires either come from this way or come from this way, I would have moved it up or down based on where the wires were coming from. This way I would have had to move it sideways, which I really wouldn't have wanted to do, but if I had to, I would have. Or you could take and wire nut the appropriate size wires onto each one of these and crimp some onto the end of the ground here, another piece of ground. You could do that, tape it up good with electrical tape. Electrical tape, not duct tape, not caulk, not scotch tape, electrical tape. And so far this is the fix for the stove back here. I went ahead and figured out where the stove's going to be and just cut a hole there. That was able to actually come quite a bit up out of the floor through there, and I put a box in here that I'll be able to put a plug in right there. Here we go. This is the finished product of this one. It needs a little bit of touch-up paint around it, but and it's not perfect, but it's definitely better than a wire hooked directly to the oven. Now, this was here because it was all caulked up and messed up. Well, it turns out the boxes they used, they had holes all over in them, which makes for nice micey homes, which you probably can't see it, but down underneath there is a few mice droppings, so we don't want to make nice homes for mice. But not only do I need to clean this up, make it so it's not full of caulk, but I also am going to put some new boxes in. I think I can get a plug and just plug this one. That won't be too bad. And I don't know if you noticed, this was facing down and it was completely just caulked into the wall. I do have that on some of that video, and I went ahead and put a strap around it, straightened it out, and hooked it to the 2x4 stud there, and now it's nice and solid. It's facing out so you can actually use it easier, and that was the fix for that. And there we go. I haven't got everything completely finished as far as moldings and things like that, but there is where the giant hole was, where all the caulk was basically covering up a giant hole. Not a lot of light in here, so you can't see it that well. I kind of spackled it roughly to try and kind of make it look like the walls here. It's not super great, but it's also not that noticeable, and it's in a place where it really it's going to be covered up. There's going to be a table here or some sort of closet in this area. We're not even using any of those plugs because we bought this, which is a ventless washer dryer that plugs into 110. So those things are actually not even going to be used, but I went ahead and left it all there, so in case they ever do sell the place or move, or this breaks and they can't afford another one like this, they have an option of going back to that type of a system. Now we come back to this, and unfortunately right now there's nothing I can do about this. For them to shut the water off to this place, because it was so poorly thought out, they have to shut the water off to half the park here, the trailer park, because there is no main shut-off valve on this place where I can just shut the water off and do work. So until I can get them to do that, and until I have time to be able to find out where the main water comes into this place, cut into it, I can put a shut-off valve on it, and then let them turn the water back on, which I do not have time nor the ability right now to do. We're just going with what they had here, unfortunately. When they did this, they would have had to have shut off the water to the park to do this kind of crappy work. So unfortunately, when they had the water shut off, they didn't do it right. They just did it. Same with underneath the sink here. You probably won't be able to see that, but I just brought in kind of what they had and added to it some shut-off valves underneath here. So yeah, you can't really, I don't think you're going to be able to see much, but I have some valves up underneath here where the water goes in, and I can at least shut off everything here. And I also put a valve underneath here that allows water to go to the outside, and I can shut off the outside water for the winter. So yet again, I'm not going to crawl under there with the light and everything, just because it really isn't a whole lot different than what was back there before, only with a couple extra shut-off valves. Yet again, maybe someday when I can take the time to make a shut-off to this house, we'll get this all changed the way it should be. Now we're kind of going to start fixing some of this stuff in here. Yet again, this is definitely one of those places where if you do anything I do and you hurt yourself, I am not responsible. I am no professional at electrical at all. I know my way around a box and I know my way around electrical, but I have not been properly trained by any professional other than my father, who was an electrical engineer. But that doesn't count. So I'm comfortable doing this. You need to decide what you are comfortable with doing. And this is how I solved this problem here. As you can see, I put new lines all together, but I ended up doing basically the same thing, but I got the wires down in here. I did these here because they were on this side and all fit here into this box, and then just did one over here in this box because to get them all in the same box just wasn't working out. That's why there was parts hanging out, or the wires unsheathed areas hanging out. But anyhow, it looks a little bit nicer. That'll work. If we decide to add something later, I can. I took this completely out here, which like I said, this orange one here was ran, so I ran that, and I'm using that one. I'm just going to make that the plug for that. So that seems a little safer to me. Now, as far as this is the wire that is actually going over to the furnace over there. And I believe I am just going to rerun this as well. Right now the furnace isn't working, so I'm just going to leave that out instead of trying to hook stuff to it. Or if I decide we need to get the furnace going sooner than I get a chance to make that run, I will put this down here, put a box down here similar to what I have here, and then run appropriate size wires to what it needs as well. I haven't really decided what I want to do yet with that, but regardless, as you can see, there's not a bunch of mouse nesty looking rat's nest of wires going through here anymore, and I have all the same wires in, minus the couple that minus one, basically this one here. All the rest of them are exactly the same wires, exactly the same circuits anyway, but I put just new wiring in and did it correctly, ran it all around this way, so we don't have any more stuff running up here. I really don't like it when stuff is running across these here. I don't think it's a great idea, but once again, so as you can see, looks a lot nicer. That maybe doesn't look a ton nicer, and I will be putting plates on these. When I finish up, you'll see that in another video probably. But I will be putting plates on those, and we'll be all nicely done. I also covered up the holes that were left by other things with the plugs here, and made those there. So same down here, and there's no more holes. They are all have appropriate things covering them up. Well, thanks for watching Junkworks DIY Garage, where I'm proud to be a jack of all and master of none. You all have a good one.